Hey everyone, welcome back to another Anime Kingdom review. See by title below, yes, this is on episode 12, the final episode of SukaSuka. And yes, I know I'm sorry that this is several days late. If you haven't been up to date with my Facebook and Twitter, for the past week and everything, I've been really sick. I'm starting to finally get better. I still have a cough and everything, so here and there may be cuts in the video, which I normally don't do, and that's probably because I get super excited. When I get super excited or I start laughing or showing a lot of expression and everything, I may end up starting to cough and everything, having a coughing fit. And I just wanted to, of course, clarify that as the reason why this is late and why there may be cuts in the video when normally I don't. But yeah, honestly, this episode, holy shit, the floodgates open. I'm not gonna lie, I was literally tearing up in this episode when the music started playing with Ren falling. I was like, oh my gosh, no, here comes the tears. And when they played Scarborough Fair, I was literally, I was gone. The floodgates were open. I was crying. I was like, holy crap, are you kidding me? I mean, it's crazy because we knew this was going to happen. This was not maybe something like this is going to happen. We saw from the very first episode that it was going to be a damn field strain. And, every single episode for this whole season was pretty much building up to that point. And I was literally I know this is going to happen. Throughout the season, kind of thought something else may, something big may happen in between where someone may die. Ends up no one dying until finally to the point where we still don't know. Obviously, with that ending it was a pretty ambiguous ending, really open-ended. You can see that there's going to, obviously, I know for a fact that the light novel continues on, so obviously there is probably more to that if you go ahead and read the light novel, or if there will be another season in the future. Not sure, if there will be. I saw a lot of people in the forum for some reason thinking that for sure there's not going to be one. So if there's not, that sucks. But still, the way they ended it here, it was still really well done. Sure, I really want to know what happened at the very end, but still, this episode was really well executed, just like the rest of the season, in my opinion. And honestly, the Fields train, literally this whole episode was just a ride on the Fields train. The last episode I was telling you guys, get ready. It was gonna be a Fields train, and I had to ready myself up. And even already, it did not matter. I still ended up crying a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I was really oh my gosh, I cannot believe this is happening. I mean, I can't believe it's happening because we knew it was going to happen, but still it affected me that much. Knowing very well it was going to happen still was affected. That's why I thought it was literally an amazing episode. Much of the beginning, obviously, literally had Willem, he's down on himself. He thinks that he could not save anyone. He literally, he pretty much did everything possible to become strong, to protect people. That's what he starts talking to Ron and telling him how he became a brave and doing everything possible to become strong so he can protect people. And in the end, he could not protect anyone. And to this point, obviously, he's this strong and he still could not protect the person he cared about, which was, of course, Kotori. And you see he's just killing everything. He does not care at all if he ends up dying. He's literally hell-bent on just killing everything there. It doesn't matter that his body, he's bleeding like crazy. He literally broke down and just fainted for a moment, a couple minutes on the ground. With Ron giving him a lap pillow, he gets up. He's super hurt. Doesn't matter. He still walks away. He's still bleeding and everything. That doesn't stop him because honestly, it's one of those people where you felt that everything was taken away from you and there's no reason for you to live. And that is, of course, what we see in this episode throughout the thing, him just killing everything. And it was honestly, it was so hard to watch. Honestly, I was full on just, oh my gosh, I felt so sorry for him because literally that was how I was expecting it would be. If something were to happen, to Kotori, then this is how he would be. I would feel so sorry for him that everything he's done, he can never ever protect the people he cares about. And honestly, like, I'd be in the same position. I'd be doing the same exact thing. That's why it was like, it was so emotional, you know? And you see everyone literally, you know, run. Like I said, she was hurt. She was just sitting there for a while. Noft is killing a whole bunch of them, but obviously she is affected as well. As you saw at the ending, she was just on the ground about to die as well. Thankfully, obviously, Kotori did save her. And that part when Ren, you guys know Ren is one of my favorite characters in the show, and like throughout the last episode, I was like, oh my gosh, is she gonna die? Are they really gonna have her die too? And literally that point when he is holding her hand, doing his damn best because he wants to save her. He wants to save someone at least, you know. And his arm is just bleeding. He's trying to pull her up, and she's just like, you know, leprechaun, this is what we were made for. We want to save people and everything. And she lets go of his hand and starts falling, and everything just stops. You hear nothing, and it's like, oh my gosh, really? But of course, obviously, I knew what was gonna happen after that, as we saw it in the very first episode. He jumps down, rushes over, the music is playing, it's super emotional. Kotori does, you know, she ends up telling, like, I guess in a way she would have been able to kind of survive, as you saw that when she was talking to Elk was saying if she does go, she will literally lose everything, she'll disappear forever. So I'm guessing maybe she, along, like, if she were to stay there, she would still have some of her consciousness in there. I'm not sure how it really works in that fact, because she's no longer a leprechaun either. She was no longer a fairy anymore, so I'm not really sure how she was able to use her powers and everything as well. And it's kind of different because unlike the other girls, they are obviously as well spirits of these, you know, dead children. But with her, her spirit is a dang god, is immortal. Elk is a god. So I'm not too sure how everything works. That's why it ends up being that she's the only one that was able to overcome that. And sure, her hair starts to turn red. She starts to lose her memory slowly and slowly until the point where obviously she's pretty much gone. And luck, of course, you know, she has to do this. She made a promise to, you know, Willem, that he didn't have to fight anymore. And I loved the part, like, I literally love the part when she is fighting and they're playing Scarborough Fair, and they both having, where she's like, she promised this to him, he promised this to her. Because of her, his life was better, he was happier. Because of him, she found, you know, all of this kind of stuff. She was happy. She was able to be the happiest she's ever, you know, has been in her life. And because of her, he's found satisfaction in life as well. And it was so emotional and so well done, honestly, with that song, that I was literally like, wow. Like, I honestly was crying. I was tearing up like a baby. And like, literally at the end, when she like pretty much nuked herself, I thought she was dead. She ends up walking to him, of course, fully hair, you know, her hair is fully red, and they have a moment right there, and then boom, it cuts off. We find out that they think that Kotori and, you know, Ren is dead. Obviously, Willem is also gone. I forget what his friend's name was, but he pretty much says that he cannot find, he can literally find everyone if they're living, but he cannot find him at all. So that it's pretty much hinting that he is dead. But it's very ambiguous in the way that we don't really see what happens. You know, we see that both of them are looking to each other at the very end. Everything else is dead. There's no other monsters near them, no other beasts near them. So it's possible that they did survive. We don't really know, because of the whole thing with Kotori and her and Elk making kind of a favor in a way. She was pretty much already gone. So I'm not too sure how that ends up working. It's not like she can end up becoming Elk again, because Elk's, you know, her spirit is alive, but her body still, because of the curse of that weapon. And so we don't really know if she's fully, like, if she really is dead, if she could stay there for a longer with her conscience, or she's just going to disappear like how usually when a fairy dies. And then we have Willem. He was bleeding, he was super hurt, but it also does not mean we did not see him, you know, drop dead either. Ren was also, when he, you know, landed with her, and Kotori was on him, and she, you know, no longer had, like, I don't know what she did, but Kotori moved her hand over her face, and all the red disappeared from Ren's eyes. So it's definitely a possibility that Ren ends up living. But we don't know what happened to Ren, because as he's crawling to Kotori, he left Ren in that ditch. So I'm not too sure what happened to her, if she's alive either, which leaves it very open to the possibility of maybe all three of them living. Honestly, it's definitely more on the dead side for Kotori because of everything that's happened with her. But Willem, he may still be alive. He may be dead. We don't know for sure. Ren is probably the biggest possibility of someone actually living because of what happened to her, and because honestly it doesn't show her either at the very end. Even shows her less at the very end than them because she's still in that ditch somewhere. So definitely an ending that at least I loved. Honestly, it was super sad, super emotional. You even saw at the very end with Ron and Noft having a moment, and Ithea, I feel for her, man. She's now the oldest one left, and it's pretty much like both her friends left her, and she was just crying. I was like, oh my gosh, man. I didn't think about that Ithea would be left there by herself now that both Ren and Kotori are dead. We don't really know for sure yet, but yeah, like I didn't think about that till now, and just that is horrible, man. I feel sorry for her, like extremely sorry for her. But of course, that is pretty much the ending. That was the last episode. Overall, like I said, it was definitely a feel strain. I definitely was crying throughout this episode, but it was in a great way. Honestly, the beginning part just made you feel like, oh my gosh, everything's gonna go to shit. Everyone's gonna die. You have Willem giving up and just pretty much looks like he's gonna kill himself by just trying to kill everyone. Ren, obviously you saw, was gonna sacrifice herself. Noft was about to die as well. She's pretty much exhausted all her energy. So has Ron as well. So it looks like everyone was gonna die. That ship was not gonna make it out. But of course, it ends up with the fact that at least Noft and Ren do survive. The rest of the people on the ship do survive as well. And the ending, while it didn't exactly fully show if they died, it leaves us to think about the fact that maybe it's a possibility of them living. It's a very open-ended kind of ending, and of course that is because it's not fully an ending. There is more to the light novel, so I may end up going to, read the light novel if there's no announcement of a season 2. If there will be an announcement of season 2, for sure I will definitely be watching it because I really want to know what's going to happen. And so far in this season, I thought they did an amazing job. If I had to give a rating for this, for this anime, I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10, honestly. Maybe like a 7.7 kind of thing, but definitely close to an 8, 7.5 to an 8, because honestly, I thought they did an amazing job. Definitely feel strange throughout the whole season. I love the way the story unfolded. Even with knowing that it was going to end the way it did, they still did an amazing job, executed everything really well. Animation and art was honestly on point in my opinion, and even though they used the same song over and over again, it didn't lessen the impact of what the events had happened each time. And the very ending, the use of that song along with Scarborough Fair, literally that just made the episode in my opinion. Like those moments were just like, oh my gosh, I am definitely feeling just so much right now. I don't know if I can take it. And when the episode ended, I just had to like lean back, and I was just like, holy crap, I can't believe that happened. Like seriously, that's how I felt. Like I could not believe everything. I mean, I could believe because we figured it was going to happen, but the ending, it was just a very, like I said, open ending that anything could possibly still happen. So yeah, overall, I gotta say I definitely enjoyed the episode, definitely enjoyed the season. And if I had to recommend like an anime for someone, I would, if you want a feelsy ride, I definitely would recommend this anime for sure to anyone. So yeah, that's all I really got to say, guys. Hope you enjoyed this Anime Kingdom review. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. If there's anything I missed and you want to talk about, comment below as well. And if you did enjoy it, leave a like. If you haven't already, feel free to subscribe for more content. And as always, guys, I want to hear your guys' thoughts. How did you feel about the episode? Good, bad? What did you guys feel about the season overall? Anything you guys want to talk about that I had said in this episode or previous episodes, or just the season overall, feel free to comment below. I want to hear your guys' thoughts as well. And yeah, that's all I got to say, guys. So till next time, see ya.